Happening now, the latest recovery efforts to remove a large barge that ran ashore in Dunkirk overnight, and clarification about a new law restricting the sale of certain whipped cream containers here in the Empire State. Plus, we hear the story of a local youth group helping to save lives in war-torn Ukraine.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, a large barge ran ashore last night in the town of Dunkirk. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, this craft detached from its tow on Lake Erie around midnight yesterday before floating to the beach along Van Buren Point. Now, recovery efforts for this barge are currently on hold, that due to choppy current water conditions. Officials tell us when that surf calms, which will likely happen either on Friday or Thursday, the owner will be responsible for removing the barge from the shoreline. The Coast Guard did not have a specific cargo manifest there, however, tell us that it is hauling a natural resource like sand, gravel, or coal and poses no environmental risks to the shore. The City of Jamestown Council has approved over $3 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds for multiple investment programs. Our Bronson Rasmussen live in the newsroom today to break down where this money will be going and what it'll be used for. Bronson?
Justin, the additional allocation of funds includes $1 million for building and property infrastructure improvements, which would help local businesses make repairs that improve their day-to-day operations. Furthermore, $2 million was also doled out to help homeowners make roof, sewer, and water line repairs, with each qualifying property awarded up to $25,000. The two programs were both originally allocated $750,000 each back in early June. The sheer number of applicants for the programs, however, demanded more money to be put into the initiatives. Since the application closed on June 30th, many were left without repairs due to the lack of funding. With the additional $3 million, almost everyone who applied and are eligible will be covered.
When we first passed this several months ago, we weren't sure how much we would need. This obviously just increases the amount to cover some of the need that's been out there that people have requested. So it's really good for the city, for the citizens, for the businesses in the community. There were three groups. There was one group that was definitely in. There was one that, a large group that was pending more funding, and then there are ones that just didn't meet the requirements. So this will take that second chunk completely, and those people that got letters that said that pending more funding, they should be covered under this.
A full list of rescue grants, and applications can be found on the City of Jamestown's website at jamestowny.gov. Live in the newsroom.
All right, Brunson, thank you very much. The Falconer Board of Education welcomed a new president at a special meeting last night. This followed the resignation of former President Todd Beckerink. Tracy Schrader, who is an acting member of the board, was nominated and elected to the seat of president during the meeting to fill out the rest of Beckerink's term. She will keep the presidential title through July of 2023 when the term comes to an end.
I don't think it changes much in my attitude that I want to do what's best for Falconer and the kids and the community. So it's just a different chair, and maybe a little more responsibility, but my heart is still in the same place. So.
Now, right now, there is an empty seat on the board, which will have to be filled either through an appointment or special election within 90 days of the former president's resignation. Beckerink has since accepted a new role within the district. For more information on that nomination process, check out Falconer School's website. It's falconercsd.org. Well, Chautauqua County, like much of the United States, is experiencing a shortage in operating farms and a loss of farmlands. And to combat this, the county now adopting a new agricultural development and enhancement strategy. Our Alyssa Wright joining us live in studio now with more on what this means for local farmers here. Alyssa?
Justin, numerous farmers in the region have faced developmental pressures regarding their farmland and are now beginning to speak out about how important preserving farmland really is for the economy and for everyday life.
Been working with the county's Department of Planning and Development, and over the last probably 10 years to kind of look at the last plan, what was effective in it, what wasn't, and then making plans for the new one.
Farming is a big part of Chautauqua County, which is why the resource needs to be protected.
I think one of the most important things is that it brings to people's attention the need to protect our farmland in the county. And there are certain development pressures depending on the area you live in.
Our environment here in Chautauqua County is spectacular, and it's spectacular because of the open fields, and our agricultural industry is extremely large in Chautauqua County, and it's important to keep that viable and keep that as an economic growth in our county, because it's what we do well and it's what we've done well for a long time.
Many farms have succumbed to the developmental pressures recently, and the reason why is simple.
It's much easier sometimes when the pressures come in to say, I've been working really hard at this, and now they're offering me 10 times what I will ever make in farming, to develop the land. And we can't have that happen, or we're going to lose the opportunity to produce high quality food for all the consumers.
We've just recently have Love's Truck Stop came to town on the thruway entrance here in Ripley, and who knows what additional development pressure that may bring to the area and the farmland specifically.
Land protection plan has been reworked over the past decade. The County Department of Planning and Development used a $50,000 grant from New York and a $30,000 grant from the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation to update this plan. Reporting live in the studio, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. And certainly it's a pretty nice day out there for farming work. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live with a shot over Olean. And I think the big noticeable thing today, Dakota, obviously, the rain's come to an end, but it's feeling so much better out there on our skin.
Yes, it is. The humidity has came down. Of course, we told you that was going to be the case after that cold front moved on through, but you can see from the Olean sky cam, we call this mostly cloudy skies, where we have more clouds than sunshine across the sky right now. And you can see on the satellite and radar picture, these are just a few clouds that have kind of moved on in within the past couple of hours, but we are going to see some clearing behind that. You can actually see it there. And so after those clouds move on through, we should have an overall nice day for today. 71 was the high yesterday. Started the day at 60, 97, and 38 are the records. So through the afternoon today, a good mix of clouds and sunshine, less humid, but there will be a stiff breeze. 72 to 79 with a west wind, 10 to 25 with wind gust around 35 miles per hour at times. Now tomorrow starts meteorological fall and September, and we're ringing it in style. I'll talk about it with the Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show, Justin.
So many weather events. We'll see them in just a little bit, Dakota. Thank you. As we continue, our New York State Capitol correspondent hearing from education officials who have school safety at the top of their mind ahead of this year's return to class. And later, some clarification about a new law that's restricting the sale of certain whipped cream containers here in the Empire State. Stay with us. WNY News Now is back after this.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than DeWyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on DeWyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. DeWyas Auto Service. service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
This Sunday, Collaborative Children's Solutions, in conjunction with the City of Jamestown, is hosting a fireworks show in celebration of Labor Day to help assist those who may be sensitive to noise created, whether that would be an individual, a child, or pet. We have free headphones and a calming blanket available to those within a 2-block radius of Bergman Park in Jamestown, New York. To reserve your gear ahead of this Sunday's evening display, simply email us at ccsolutions716@gmail.com.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Well, the school year is just days away, and educators across New York State, they're worrying about school safety. New York State Capitol correspondent Elise Klein talked to members of the task force Safe Schools for All about what state legislators can be doing to help boost a safe school initiative.
At an unprecedented time when concern for school safety is at an all-time high, today, New York State United Teachers Task Force, Safe Schools for All, released a report with recommendations for educators, policymakers, and school districts. Task force members emphasized that training entire school communities in particular is important. An entire school community includes school staff, educators, and children. According to a recent report, there were 193 incidents nationwide of gunfire on school grounds during the 2021 to 2022 school year, which is nearly 4 times the average since 2013.
If you don't feel safe at school, you cannot learn. So in order for us to do our jobs, students, teachers all need to be in a safe environment.
Members for the Safe Schools for All Task Force also emphasized that it is important to not just prepare for the worst day, but for every day. And for school districts across New York State, that means safety trainings and communication with the right people on the ground to create a culture of preparedness.
Every time there's a tragic event like Uvalde or Parkland or Sandy Hook, we call it a wake-up call for action. But Safe Schools for All cannot be an idea that comes in waves.
State legislators can look through the task force's report and apply the recommendations accordingly, such as prioritizing funding to hire critical staff, strengthening gun safety regulations, issuing uniform school safety guidance, and including staff representatives on safety committees. Pallotta highlighted that what's most important for state policymakers to recognize is the idea and practice of collaboration on this issue.
So bringing folks together, the families, school staff, the community leaders to address school climate, having legislators see that as important is one of the main goals of this.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News.
Governor Kathy Hochul, along with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, have launched a statewide campaign to help families get access to child care assistance. According to the governor's office, eligibility for child care assistance was expanded this month to include families earning up to 300% of the federal poverty level. This extension eligibility is an estimated 394,000 young children throughout New York. As of this month, a family of 4 earning up to $83,000 is now eligible for child care assistance. Previously, the threshold was $55,000 or less. The state will begin a billboard, radio, and social media campaign to let families know about what support they can receive. And officials are warning about the dangers of impaired driving and urge to practice safe tips ahead of the upcoming holiday weekend. State police were joined by PennDOT and the PA DUI Association to remind everyone who plans to celebrate this weekend to be safe, responsible, and sober if driving. The DUI Association brought a nearly 30-foot replica of their DUI victims memorial to the event, which contains names of 2,400 individuals who lost their lives at the hands of an impaired driver. They hope the memorial will provide a sobering reminder of how one reckless decision can cause a lifelong consequence or even death.
In 2021, troopers arrested nearly 19,000 people for driving under the influence. Still, 117 lives were lost due to DUI-related crashes.
The state police and municipal agencies will also conduct impaired driving enforcement details as part of a national campaign and education effort that runs through September 5th. Well, New York's new concealed weapons law has now gone into effect, or will go into effect on Thursday, and with it comes a designated gun-free zones. Times Square in New York City falls under that designation. Anyone who now brings a weapon into Times Square could be charged with a Class E felony punishable by up to 4 years in jail. The gun-free zone also applies to many side streets surrounding Times Square. The city's most popular tourist site has 50 million people visit each year. Officials are working on placing signage so people are aware of this law. And we told you about this yesterday. A new New York State law restricting who can buy whipped cream chargers has been getting a lot of attention. That since Monday, when the state senator behind it now put out a news release to try to clarify this. WNY News Now's Lisa Adams has been looking into it and found that it's all about trying to protect people under 21 from buying cartridges to get high.
The idea of inhaling nitrous oxide for a high isn't new. The small chargers have the nickname of whippets. It can be inhaled from the cartridges or breathed in from balloons. That's what New York Senator Joe Adabo hoped to prevent with Bill 2819A, but it was misunderstood.
Although the New York state law was passed last November, there's been a lot of confusion about enforcement. What it's not talking about is Ready Whip, something in the grocery store like this. What you can't buy unless you're 21 are these nitrous oxide canisters that go along with a professional-style whipped cream dispenser.
High school or college kids may hear that it's not dangerous, but it is. Just ask the family of Jack Schoenig, a Cathedral Prep hockey player who at 17 died from trying it while visiting a Penn State frat party in 2019. With no other drugs or alcohol in his system, Jack fell unconscious and went into full cardiac arrest.
He died within 20 minutes after being at the apartment where the incident occurred. The other kids in the room walked away, but he was not so lucky. So it is very dangerous, and I don't think kids appreciate that. So if we as adults and regulators can raise that public awareness, I think it would be a great public service.
His mom wishes manufacturers would get involved in the solution, but until, we'll focus on awareness.
Ideally, if we could get the manufacturers involved to change somehow the way the cartridges are designed so that you can't get the gas out without, the proper dispenser, that would be the ideal solution. But in the short term, at least this is a step in the right direction, and I hope more states follow suit, if for no other reason than to bring awareness.
Lisa Adams, WNY News Now.
Lisa, thank you. Coming up, our congressional correspondent highlighting a new push in D.C. to legalize marijuana at the federal level. And later, the story of a local youth group raising money to save lives in Ukraine as war continues to wage in that country. But first, Dakota's back with a full look at our weather forecast.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes!
Make a plan today.
Calling all teachers. Get your year started off right with an evening with Gary Brooks. Come see Gary as he shares his funniest school stories and strategies to build a positive school culture. Go to ReginaldA.com for tickets and more information.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to give you a look at the pollen levels because the ragweed pollen has started to come up now. So allergy sufferers, I'm right there with you. It's the ragweed pollen. And of course, we want to thank Dr. Fred Lewis out there in Olean for that report on the pollens. And how much rain fell yesterday. We told you there was going to be some heavy rainfall in spots where you might have seen the heavier downpours. And again, eastward saw it. Look at Cattaraugus at 1.13 inches, a little more than a half an inch in Randolph, a little more than 3/10 of an inch here in Jamestown. So again, where you saw those heavier downpours yesterday, it came down, and that definitely was the case. Now, it is cooler today, but Lake Erie is going to be kind of a iffy situation today. 76 is still the water temperature, but look at the wind. West 15 to 25, wave heights 3 to 8 feet, building to 10 feet. So there is a small craft advisory in effect for the Lake Erie shoreline, and there's a beach hazard statement in effect as well. So not a good beach day out there. So, you know, with the waves like that and the small crafts, maybe not a good idea out there as well. But power boaters might not be a bad idea to get out. So again, if you're going to go to the beach, might not be a bad idea to kind of stay out of the water. 69 degrees right now is a noon hour. There's that healthy west wind at 15. The wind gust is at 22. The dew point has came down to 53, so that is feeling much more comfortable out there. But look at where the temperatures are going over the next 5 days. Tomorrow starts not only meteorological autumn, but it's also the 1st of September as well. So 70 degrees. Some spots will stay in the 60s all day. Then we return back into the 80s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's our cold front that moved on through. So notice the wind shifting more to the north and northwest. High pressure built in now. That is pretty much going to stay our main weather maker for the next couple of days. But notice how Future Scan does pop up a couple little isolated showers tonight. Wouldn't rule that out. I do think there is a small chance for a couple isolated showers, but otherwise those taper off. We may start with some morning clouds tomorrow, then the clouds move away, then we go into full sunshine for Thursday, but we're going to stay chilly though. As I mentioned, 70 here in the city. The hills will likely stay in the upper 60s, and then we'll keep it going into Friday. Future wind gusts here because it is breezy. We're looking at wind gusts possibly of around 25 to 35 miles an hour. Maybe some spots may get close to 40 miles an hour. So 52 to 60 tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with a few scattered showers possible. The wind does diminish overnight. Now the next 7 days powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So tomorrow again, 70 up to 80 Friday, 83 Saturday. 3 days of sunshine there, maybe a few high clouds, isolated shower on Sunday. Monday for Labor Day looking nice, and as everybody returns to school on Tuesday, 75 with mostly sunny skies.
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Here's some headlines from around the nation, and in a court filing late Tuesday, the Department of Justice said that U.S. government documents were likely concealed and removed from a storage room at Mar-a-Lago in an effort to obstruct the FBI's investigation. The DOJ filing is in response to former President Donald Trump's lawsuit seeking a special master to review materials seized at his Florida home. The DOJ says that Trump lacks standing to intervene in the investigation because the presidential records do not belong to him. Citing the Presidential Records Act, they said the records are considered property of the government and also argued that the court where Trump filed this case lacks jurisdiction challenging the validity of this warrant. Trump arguing his constitutional rights were violated. And should cannabis be legalized at the federal level? That's an idea being tossed around at our nation's capital right now. Washington, D.C. Capitol correspondent Rachel Knapp tells us more.
It's clear now, after decades of evidence, that the federal cannabis prohibition has failed.
In a recent Senate hearing, members debated the idea of legalizing cannabis at the federal level. According to the DEA, cannabis is classified as a Scheduled I drug, which is defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. As of right now, 38 states, including the District of Columbia, have legalized cannabis for medical use. 19 states and D.C. have legalized it for recreational adult use.
For generations, the federal cannabis prohibition has also been a core piece of a disastrous war on drugs that has targeted and destroyed the lives of so many Americans, particularly vulnerable Americans and communities across our country. For example, data shows that Black and white Americans use cannabis at roughly the same rates. Yet studies have shown that Black Americans are more than 3.5 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis possession.
Those for this proposal say keeping cannabis illegal at the federal level fails to make our communities safer and has impacted low-income communities, while others disagree. They worry legalizing cannabis will not stop any illicit drug trafficking and could be even more harmful.
The danger for young Americans is especially acute. Recent studies link use of marijuana by young people with a higher likelihood of committing violent crimes and suicide. After all, why is marijuana illegal under federal law? It's simple. Because it has no accepted medical use, it's dangerous, and it's addictive.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Senator Chuck Schumer co-sponsored a bill that would decriminalize marijuana at the federal level. That bill would also expunge federal cannabis-related records and help create funding for law enforcement to fight illegal cannabis cultivation. Well, gas prices are going down, consumer confidence going up, at least for now. The Conference Board's report for consumer altitudes rose 103.2% for the month of August. That's compared to July's 95.3 score. The findings say that Americans are slightly more optimistic about their current financial situation. However, experts say lower prices at the pump are a major factor. Conference Board says that could change if, say, a hurricane plays havoc with oil production or if Russia is behind another energy shakeup. Well, coming up next, we highlight a local group now joining the Ukrainian war relief effort to help raise money that saves lives.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Hey ladies, are you looking for a fun night out on the town this fall? We have the event for you. Join Collaborative Children's Solutions as we celebrate the women of our community during a special Ladies Red Carpet Gala. Grab your friends and fanciest clothes for a night of dancing at the Northwest Arena in Jamestown, New York. There will be dessert and a cash bar. All proceeds directly benefit Collaborative Children's Solutions. Learn more at ccsolutions716.com.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
A local youth group has joined the Ukrainian war relief effort by raising money for special medical equipment. Our Julia Gress has more on the group, which each year brings children from 4 area churches to Randolph's VBS, raising money for relief aid projects. This year, they donated to Lakewood resident Sally Netzger-Bear, who's been assisting in the relief effort since the war began.
It came up in the meeting, like, what if we raised money for Ukraine? Because it's a pressing issue. It's something that kids are going to, and families are going to be familiar with and concerned about. And during the course of that meeting, I thought, well, you know, I know Sally through my work at St. Luke's, and it just is an obvious connection.
Kids who range from preschoolers to 6th grade surpassed their original goal of $300 and eventually raised almost $1,200 to donate towards Netzger-Bear's efforts. An anonymous donor then matched their funds, doubling the total. Netzger-Bear dropped everything to help those suffering from the war. We met her back in March when she rented a van and transported refugees from Ukraine to Poland.
Even though I was just one person, in my mind, if I could bring one person out of Ukraine to safety, that would have been worth the effort.
Now she has partnered with a U.S.-based manufacturer, purchasing the kits for $23. So far, Netzger-Bear has been able to deliver 500 to the front lines. This donation will help her provide even more.
Now I only do tourniquets for the now and the foreseeable future, because I've learned that what they can get a hold of, Ukrainians can get a hold of many things in Europe, and tourniquets is not one of them. They're very difficult to get, and they're very expensive. They're usually like $35, $36.
In the end, those at the Vacation Bible School credit Netzger-Bear's inspiration as the fuel for their success.
Humans are storytelling creatures, and so if you have a story that you can really connect with, and to take something that's big and scary that's on the news and then to bring it down here into Grace Church of Randolph and to be able to make it not just this big scary thing.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you very much. Incredible there. Local efforts will assist Ukrainians and likely going to continue for many years, by the way, Dakota. Nesker Bear telling us that once the war is over, she'll also help with rebuilding and other recovery efforts in the war-torn areas. She does plan to return to Ukraine late next month for another supply run. Really incredible work there. That's it for us today. We'll leave you with this shot over Lakeside Park in Mayville. Have a great day.